depiction of the Assyrian camp from the stone reliefs that were found in Sennacherib's palace that are in the British Museum. So where this is where you see the kibbutz, those buildings and everything over there. That's where they set up camp. Okay, so I want you to picture this now. We are all Lachishites, okay, and we're in here. Our king has decided he's not going to pay his taxes to Assyria, and so here come the Assyrians, and they're wiping out cities, and they're coming down the way of the sea, and they're coming to us, and they come in here with an undefeated record. Every city that they've laid siege to, they have taken, because this is before, the only time that it didn't happen is the next city that they'll go to. So they come in here with an undefeated record, and they come and they start building their camp out there right in front of us. And they're putting up their walls, they're putting in their different areas, and then they come and then they start throwing stones and start building their ramp up to our wall. And we are fighting for everything we got, because the odds are we're going to be soon extinct. And so the entire battle is to reach the wall right at this point. And this, they're building a back on the back side, you know, as much mass as they can so that the wall can't be broken through. You've got the wall right down there where you see the stone sticking out. And so what they excavated on this back side was what they put up against the back side of that wall to try to stop it from being breached. And the entire battle for Lachish took place right there. And you see in the wall reliefs the tower that was here, and they're throwing everything that they can, rocks and shooting and catching things on fire and throwing it over, and anything that they can do. And slowly but surely they're building that ramp up. They're putting their engineers down to weaken the walls by digging underneath them, and they're just doing it. That's how Assyria became the first real true empire, is they made taking out fortified cities into an art form. And they were extremely skilled at it. And Lachish didn't have a chance, just like all the other cities. One way I like to think of these tells, these mounds, right, is we're used to thinking of a mound as a grave. You go into a cemetery and you got a mound where somebody was buried, right? That's the grave of a person. This is the grave of a city. And not just a city, but cities. So under our feet, down, 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 is the grave of the city that Joshua and the Israelites attacked and put everybody to the sword. And then above it, my son and I officially did the photography for this too, the dig that was going on here. And on the other side of the tell, we're not going to walk over all the way over there because you can't see what we saw, but what they did is they went down to the Babylonian destruction. And they got down to it and they cleaned it all up, and it's real impressive right when it's time to take a photograph of it, because all the smashed pots and everything is still in the place that it was found. And you can see that. So we went up and we took a bunch of pictures of it, and then we went home, and then they dug down to the next one, which is the Assyrian destruction level, and then they cleaned it all up. And about 2 weeks later we came back down and took pictures of that. Okay, because we have the texts that say for sure the Assyrians destroyed this place and the Babylonians destroyed this place, and because those destruction layers are clearly distinguishable here in Lachish, then those two destruction layers that are known here are used as parallel for all the other sites that were destroyed either by the Assyrians and Babylonians and by the Babylonians, meaning both. So if you're in a site and a text doesn't tell you whether the Assyrians, say, destroyed that site or not, and you find a destruction level that's a parallel to the Assyrian destruction level here, then you interpret, oh, we got an Assyrian destruction level. Or if you're digging and you find one that's a parallel to the Babylonian destruction layer, then you use it as a parallel. Okay? So, think of the parallel then of these two destruction layers with Jerusalem. The Babylonian destruction layer here is a perfect parallel to the Babylonian destruction layer in Jerusalem. This one is easier to explore than Jerusalem's archaeologically. Why? It's not inhabited. Look, you don't have to go ask somebody to move out of their house and rip their house down to dig underneath it. You can dig wherever you want to and get down to that level and expose it. You can't do that in Jerusalem. You have to dig where you can in little patches. And then the Assyrian destruction layer here is a perfect parallel to the Assyrian destruction level at Jerusalem, right? They're exactly the same. Hello. There is no Assyrian destruction layer in Jerusalem.
Nope, they didn't come.
Which is a miracle.
Yeah.
You see over here, there's where those white things are. That's that trench where they went down to the time of Joshua. That's the only place. There's another little place like that on the far side that they went down and found a temple destroyed by Joshua. So two little tiny areas and the whole site of Lachish that go down to the time of Joshua. Everything we know archaeologically about Lachish at the time of Joshua are in those two little squares. And that's typical. So if somebody says, oh, well, they haven't found any evidence for that. Well, that's because of all the places that could be excavated in this country, only 1% has been. And even a site like this that has been extensively excavated, maybe they've excavated quite a bit of the Babylonian and Assyrian destructions, but only a tiny bit to get all the way down to that Joshua destruction. And then they don't usually bother going down further than that, because if they don't have a text that tells you something about it, then it really doesn't have much meaning. And so that Marashah, you see straight back here, you see that tell back there?
Yeah.
That's Marashah. That's where Micah is from. Also destroyed by the Assyrians.
How long was the siege here?
I don't think it says. I don't think anything says.
What about Joshua's siege?
Yeah, how did
Azekah, you can't see. Maybe if it was clear, you could see it.
That was my next question.
Here, look at the way that Isaiah starts his whole scroll out. He says this, Isaiah 1:7, he says, your country, Judah, is desolate, your cities burned with fire. The daughter of Zion, which is another way of saying Jerusalem, is left like a shelter in a vineyard, like a hut in a field of melons. All the melons are the destroyed cities, only Jerusalem is the hut, the one that remains, like a city under siege. So just as this was put under siege, so was Jerusalem. Unless Yahweh Almighty had left us some survivors, we would have become like Sodom. We would have been like Gomorrah. So you can destroy every single city in a country, and the people will not go extinct if the one city you don't get is the capital, where everybody is in like a sheep in a pen.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Isaiah where?
7.
it's,
Oh, 1-7.
1:7. And how did
Rachel's
Joshua?
got a tortoise.
yeah,
What
Yeah.
have you found?
the little baby.
Now what is it?
She's a whisperer.
Oh, there is a mama?
Can I just take a little.
You can take it home and put them back.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
This is where the Assyrians broke through the wall of Lachish. Oh my gosh, a tortoise!
Exactly what you were saying.
Even Jill went for the tortoise.
I know. I'm actually going to go over to the things over there as well. How cute.
Just as
Oh my goodness.
put the